Uncensored, no holds barred talk. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This is the Global Reality Radio Network.
Edition of the Global Reality right here on the Global Reality Radio Network. I'm your host, Josh Reeves. Thank you for being with us here tonight for another late night Moonbat edition of the broadcast. It is the 9th of May going into the 10th of May now, and we are here for you on this late night Moonbat edition of the show. So thank you so much for staying up late with us tonight. Yes, Metal Moon Day. Yes. That's what we should start calling it. Metal Moon Day.
Metal Monday. Right here on the Global Reality Radio Network. We're going to bring Satan and metal to the airwaves, yes.
So, yeah, there you go. Satan just has a direct line into the network now. He just comes out whenever he wants. What can I say? If you don't make a deal with his ass, then you have to, like, Jones or somebody else says, you have to constantly put up with him, interrupting your broadcasts. Him and Hagee both. It's kind of part of the deal. So I guess if you don't suck the Satan's cock, you got to put up with him busting in on your broadcast whenever. But anyway, we're going to be getting into some news here for you tonight, and there's not a lot of big crazy amount of it. So we'll get through what we need to get into tonight, and then we'll move on and continue where we left off last week, reading from William Bramley's The Gods of Eden, and we had kind of bitten off more than we could chew at the end of the last show, and sort of started a new chapter that was very, very long. So we're going to pick up and continue reading there tonight for you, and get into some more interesting information from The Gods of Eden by William Bramley. So there you go. I talked about last week be appearing on Red Ice Radio. I am going to be doing that. I don't know exactly when the date is going to be. Things are kind of I'm up in the air for me right now. I don't really know because I'm trying to keep up with what's going on with my dad and stuff like that, and it's not really good at all, guys. So, I may not be here for a bit at some point soon. But I'm going to try and figure this out when I can do this. I have to do it like something at like noon in the afternoon because it's all pre-taped, and we do 1 hour, and then I take a break, and then we come back and do another hour or so. But I am very grateful for the opportunity to be able to go on Red Ice Radio and get out some of the information that we talk about here on the show out to a much larger and broader audience, and hopefully try to change some minds around. I think maybe shows like that are a really good opportunity for me because, maybe if people have sort of been reluctant to listen to some of the information on those topics, it's all about context to certain people, you know what I mean? And sometimes when you put information that is already, been out there for some period of time and you put it in a new context, oftentimes that new context that is given to people can sometimes be the catalyst that causes them to, to look into something. It's just kind of like a brand loyalty type thing. You know what I mean? It's like people consider certain information that comes from certain sources that they believe are, to their liking. They tend to take some of that information. So I think it'll be a good opportunity to get out some of the other information that that we're going to be doing there. So look forward to that, and I'll be letting you guys know whenever we get that done and whenever it's going to be up and all the rest of that stuff. So like I said, it's just up in the air right now. I don't really know when I'm going to schedule that, but we'll just have to see what happens. But anyway, we are going to be here with you tonight, getting into quite a bit of stuff. There was all kinds of people going crazy over these crazy fake terrorist attacks, and people just, wigging out all over the place. Oh, retaliation attacks. And, these are the perfect time for these guys to pull another operation, pull something off here, and have, all the more reasons to continue the war effort in the Middle East. Last week, I had an email, and I had mentioned part of this person's email. I guess I didn't read the rest of the email on air up to their liking. They sent me this email question like 4 times. So I'll read that person's entire email for you here in just a bit, and I'll read another one that I got tonight from a listener that sort of coincides with that. But if you've got something you want to hear me talk about tonight, if you have a question, anytime, globalrealityshow@gmail.com. That's globalrealityshow@gmail.com. You can send emails over there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I'll do my best in a lot of cases to read them on air. And please specify with your email, if you've got something you're emailing me that you don't want me to talk about on air, and you want to, because you want to have a conversation about something you don't necessarily want people to know you're talking about, you can just tell me, you put it in there, hey, don't talk about this on air, or hey, don't read this on air, and I won't do that. So I just wanted to make that clear. But globalrealityshow@gmail.com, my website where this broadcast originates from, is Global Reality Show. It's, theglobalreality.com, www.theglobalreality.com. You can go there and you find the streams and my movies and the chat room where there's people are hanging out in there, as they always are tonight. So big shout out to everybody in the chat room. So you can go there and check it out. We have the donate button, the chip and banner. We do need your support right now, as we always do. So please support our work there at the website. Let's talk about this email. I got this one last week. It says, have you addressed my take on this? And I did mention this partly and did talk about it some last week on the air concerning bin Laden. They have never aired the footage of the alleged Osama bin Laden. The only photos ever seen are from that 79 Z-Big footage news report. That person in the photo is the only clip that they just happened to sanitize off a photo bucket. And if you have an account with Chitango and post footage of which they delete from your account, Chitango then automatically blocks you from it. They are the only old photos of the real Osama. We have never seen video footage of the real Osama bin Laden. I'd have to agree with that, judging by the picture and everything else. The person who the different people they've told us were Osama bin Laden most certainly were not, which leads us to our next email that we received tonight. Here it says, "Hey Josh, I just want to get your take on the Osama is Obama video that's been circulating on YouTube." I said from the very beginning that the guy's name alone, even before the elections and stuff, the guy's name alone was a psychological operation. You go back and pull some of those old broadcasts of mine. I talk about that. I talk about how the name alone is a psychological operation. I think there's probably going to be something connected to that guy in the future, in the psychological operation of his name and that whole thing that's going to come out, and it very well could be. But anyway, there's this video going around and on YouTube, and I'm trying to find the proper title of it so I can point you in the right direction. But anyway, essentially, the long and the short of it is in this video, they basically show a picture of Barack Obama and a picture of Osama bin Laden. And they do overlays where you really start to see some striking facial features. The video's name is The President Obama. Who is he? ? Osama bin, B-E-N-L-A-D-E-N, bin Laden, maybe. What I had to say, the facial similarities of the person they purport to be Barack Obama and the person they purport to be Osama bin Laden, yeah, it's very striking. Like I said, I said a couple of years ago they were going to do this. They were going to thaw out his body, and then they'd have a catch. The 2012 presidential election campaign slogan would be Obama caught Osama, and we've already seen that happening. So the question is, what do I think about this video? Well, let me put it to you like this. Is it? I guess what I'm saying is I guess I'm going to have to make some assumptions here with your question. It just says I want to get your take on this. So I guess your take would be: do I believe it's real? Do I believe it's possible? Do I believe it's legit? Do I believe is that what you mean? I suppose. Well, first of all, let me say this: anything's possible. And with these guys, the moment you say, well, that's impossible, I'd never believe that, there's no way they could get away with that. Just like, Paul McCartney. And, by the way, did you guys hear about this? I saw this article, by the way, Paul McCartney, not the real Paul McCartney, Paul McCartney. Great article out of Technorati over the weekend. Will Paul McCartney's marriage strengthen his ties with Israel? Talking about how for the second time, it's funny, because the first Paul McCartney, before Tavistock replaced him with a double, was dating Jane Asher and was dating. All of a sudden, the fake Paul McCartney comes in. All of a sudden, he's into Jewish heiresses. His first wife, Linda Eastman. I mean, my God, Eastman. Hello, he was a photographer, Jewish. Eastman Kodak. Hello. It's unbelievable. But, so, do I think it's possible that this person who they were purporting to be, Osama bin Laden could have been, Barry Soetoro dressed up like an Arab? You know what? I mean, we've got a billion other stranger things than that we can prove, don't we? Wouldn't surprise me at least, but yeah, it's an interesting video. And, maybe they did do that. Maybe he was one of the guys that they, dressed up as, somebody who, because the thing about it is, it had to be somebody who people were never going to really spot out in public, right? It had to be somebody they were never going to see, or somebody who could look similar to, a million other Arabs. So yeah, I guess if you're asking me, do I think it's possible that they could have, because who would have ever, hiding it in the most likely of places, hiding it right out in the open, right? Because who would ever think that that's it? Or maybe it's just, trying to get people to grab onto, stupid conspiracy. So the ones that the real information that we really do have gets lumped in with the horseshit. I don't know. It could be that too. But yeah, I mean, it is possible that they could have, hit it right out in the open. They could have, and as a reward, because remember, I mean, Hillary was the front runner. Remember that? I mean, they really brought Barack Obama out of really complete obscurity and out of nowhere, even to those of us that were researching things at the time and were doing radio shows. I was sort of just starting to do my radio show, but I had been researching for years before that and had seen indicators going back to, oh God, the 90s, that they were grooming Hillary Clinton to be the next president of the United States. She had gone to the Bilderberg Group meetings where that was on the docket, that was discussed. And the Rockefellers had been bankrolling her since Bill Clinton was president, because she was the one that was supposedly going to be steamrolling in the national health care thing. There were actually Clinton Library memos that got released back in 2008. And in these Clinton era documents from the Clinton Library, even, there were memos and faxes and letters from Senator J. Rockefeller saying, when are you going to get on this national health care thing? We need to get you some money so we can start getting the ball rolling on this thing. See, they wanted to get it in. They wanted to bring it in under Clinton, and were hoping to that they were going to get Al Gore in there and bring it in under Al Gore as well. But there was a change in plans. And we know that at the Council for National Policy meeting in, I guess, 96, Bob Barr admits it in his book, The Meaning of Is. He admits right there in his book, Bob Barr, former CIA guy, NRA, that at the Council for National Policy meeting in 1996, they cooked up the plan to impeach Bill Clinton. Because they had to, after bringing in Bill Clinton, get everybody behind him, they had to find a way to demonize him. So then they could convince people that, that Bush was the way to go. And then, of course, they pulled off they rigged the elections there after Bush at a Council for National Policy meeting in San Antonio, Texas in 1999, made a promise to the author Tim LaHaye. Just little, oh my God, that guy's just a pig demon. Look at him. He's a pig demon. There's just no other way. Google Tim LaHaye if you never have. If you ever want to see what a real living demon looks like, it's Tim LaHaye. I don't think I've ever seen another person in my life that looks closer to what the idea of a half-demon humanoid thing would ever look like than him. And this guy purports to be a preacher, a man of God. So LaHaye gives Bush this questionnaire. And on this questionnaire, it consists, because at that time, the Council for National Policy and the whole right-wing intelligentsia was not really behind Bush. And so they gave him this questionnaire at the Council for National Policy meeting, in which George Bush, W. Bush, gave it was in the governor of Texas at the time, gave a speech in front of the Council for National Policy in San Antonio, Texas in 1999, the likes of which the things that he said, allegedly said during this speech of the meeting, were so revealing that to this day, the minutes from that speech have never been released. And even though the Council for National Policy are uber secret and they don't tell people where they meet or when they are or where it is or anything else, or they don't release membership lists, they do, however, for the most part, always release to the public the minutes, that is the translation, the transcript of the keynote speeches that take place inside of their meetings. For a lot of years, the one that was really sought after was the one that was given by the Prime Minister of Canada. And that was one that was very sought after, and it was subsequently released. You can find it on the web now, but the Bush one has never been released, and that was why. And what was going on there is that they were bringing in the next levels of this. They were bringing this stuff in. They were already setting the table for what the next level of the agenda was. And then all of a sudden, we all heard and believed it was going to be Hillary Clinton. And then the next thing we know, here comes Barack Obama out of nowhere. And yeah, it's very possible that, well, especially when you look at the choice of Biden. Oh, it's just the choice of as soon as I heard Biden was going to be the vice president, I went, oh, that's genius. Because Biden couldn't balance his own fucking checkbook without 18 guys there to do it for him. I mean, I've never gotten the impression that long before he was vice president, long before, Joe Biden's name has always come up for years in intel ops, counter-intel ops, Mossad activity, Pakistani ISI activity. I mean, for years, it was common knowledge, especially in 9/11 truth circles, that Joe Biden was the go-between. He was the bag man, essentially. He was like, Jack Rubenstein before him. He was the classic bag man. He was the middleman. And he was the money runner that was running the money between the Central Intelligence Agency and the Pakistani ISI prior to 9/11, and was involved in the wire transfer that was made to General Mahmoud Ahmad. Now, all of this stuff is boiling into a gigantic shitstorm that now, 10 years later, with this whole concocted thing of this bin Laden scenario, it's culminating. Then now, see the whole Biden connection to the Pakistani ISI and Mahmoud Ahmad and all that wire transfer stuff. See, it makes a lot more sense now that the bin Laden capture thing happened under the Barack Obama, Joe Biden presidency, doesn't it? See, they've been doing this for a very long time, folks. They've been planning this out. I mean, is it possible that for years they've been concocting this? Is it possible that for years Barack Obama was an inside guy and they did use him as one of these actors to make it look like he was this guy? You know what? With all the other connections we have with all this stuff, you bet your ass. And that's the big thing people need to start to understand. As soon as the general public can figure out that the things that are said about the right wing and the things that are the same or should be, the things that are said about the right wing are actually the left wing is just as much up to as what they blame the right for. Oh, y'all's war hawks and blah, blah, blah. Wait. No. if you really study it and you really strip away the media bullshit and don't let that stuff distract you, you can see that all these guys, what they put out to the public is just the stuff that's there to make it seem that there are lines drawn and divisions inside. These guys are all on the same boat. But I just couldn't help but think about that. And thank you so much to the email person that sent the email asking about my take on this Osama is Obama thing. You know what, man? It's very possible. I wouldn't put it past these guys. And again, I'm also under the opinion that something's going to happen. They're going to reveal this. I think that something's going to come out. People will probably say I'm crazy for saying that, much of the same way they said I was crazy a few years ago when I said that they were going to thaw out his body and boost Obama's fucking approval. But so say la vie on that one. I think it very well could happen. I think they could stage this whole thing just like I said. Well, actually, what they used to laugh at me the most about was when I was saying that 9/11, the issue of 9/11 truth, was going to come out, not in the full way. They'd give us a partial truth. They'd blame it on Bush and Cheney and the neocons, and never mention any of the involvement with the Israeli Mossad or the priest class or British intelligence or any of the other real factions or the world order power itself. It would just be blamed on America and used as a linchpin to bring down the United States. And I think this whole thing with situation with faking the fact of them faking this whole Obama thing could come out and, could seek to irreparably damage the credibility of the United States as a whole permanently by design. Again, man, I don't know if the whole thing is, I'm not sitting there trying to preach that Osama is Obama video is real or not real or anything else. I'm just saying, let's look at the facts here. And the facts are that the powers that be in the Barack Obama presidential administration are just as much involved in this whole phony war on terror and the whole concocting of this whole goddamn charade, and that's what it is. They are just as complicit in this staged theater as Clinton or Bush or anybody else is in the power structure. They're all serving the same interest. This is a part of a grander master plan that encompasses the entire planet. But while we're on the subject of that, and here we go, evidence at bin Laden's home raises nuclear concerns. Yeah. So now, like I said earlier, we've just got all kinds of scaremongering going on. But I want to mention this one first before we get on to some of this other stuff. I mentioned the Pakistani ISI connection with Biden, which is, again, one of the clearest pieces of information we have of the people that are now in the Barack Obama administration being intimately involved in the events that led up to the events of September 11, 2001. And this article here out of the London Guardian today, to me, proves my point exactly on that. Listen to this. Osama bin Laden mission agreed in secret 10 years ago by the U.S. and Pakistan. Womp, womp. Well, there you go. When were the wire transfers going on? When was Biden being the bag man for the Pakistani ISI and the Central Intelligence Agency? Oh, it was 10 years ago. Yeah, exactly 10 years ago, right before 9/11, right about this time, 10 years ago. And here we are. Here they are telling us what we already know. U.S. forces were given permission to conduct unilateral raids inside Pakistan if they knew where bin Laden was hiding. The U.S. and Pakistan struck a secret deal almost a decade ago, permitting a U.S. operation against Osama bin Laden on Pakistani soil, similar to last week's raid that killed the al-Qaeda leader, the Guardian has learned. The deal was struck between the military leader, General Pervez Musharraf, and President George Bush after bin Laden escaped U.S. forces in the mountains of Tora Bora in late 2001, according to serving and retired Pakistani and U.S. officials. Under its terms, Pakistan would allow U.S. forces to conduct a unilateral raid inside Pakistan in search of bin Laden, his deputy, Ayman al-Zawahiri, and the al-Qaeda number 3. Afterwards, both sides agreed that Pakistan would ferociously protest the incursion. there was an agreement between Bush and Musharraf that if we knew where Osama was, we were going to come and get him. Said a former senior U.S. official with knowledge of counterterrorism operations, the Pakistanis would put up a hue and cry, but they wouldn't stop us. The deal puts a new complexion on the political storm triggered by bin Laden's death. Pakistani officials have insisted they knew nothing of the raid, with military and civilian leaders issuing a strong rebuke to the U.S. if the U.S. conducts another search. Yeah, see what's going on here? See, that's why U.S. and the CIA and they've been doing all this stuff. They've been brokering a deal with Pakistan to overthrow their government and put in, power structure approved leadership. They've been brokering this shit since the days of Clinton, probably before. But this is going to happen under the Barack Obama and Joe Biden presidency. And that, again, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly why Biden got to be the vice president. Because he had a close working relationship with the CIA. He had a close working relationship with the Pakistani ISI. And baby, when they needed a running mate, when they needed to put somebody in there they could trust that had done good work for them next to Barack Obama, they got Joe Biden. Because they knew probably 10 years ago, probably before that, of the Barack Obama presidency, certainly probably of Joe Biden proving himself at that time and having his part in the operation and the events of 9/11 and proving himself and then getting put in there. So they knew as far back as then that under Barack Obama and under Joe Biden that they were going to be installing a new government, a new puppet government, a new government that is fully controlled by the Central Intelligence Agency, by Israel, by the Mossad, by British intelligence. And so what they are now doing, and this article proves it, is they make a secret deal with Pakistan, and now they're outing Pakistan to make Pakistan look bad, saying, oh, they made a secret deal. They're lying, saying they had no idea that we were going to do this raid. We struck a deal with them to do this 10 years ago. So that's horseshit. Ha, ha, ha. See what they're doing? Now they're saying, oh, yeah, Pakistan, that's where all the Al-Qaeda is. This is a systematic plan that has been engaged for over 10 years that Joe Biden, the vice president of the United States, has been involved in. We have had him dead to rights as working with the Pakistani ISI for over 10 years. I mean, you've got that video. I used to say where Joe Biden says, I used to say when I was a young guy, if I were a Jew, I'd be a Zionist. I am a Zionist. You don't have to be a Jew to be a Zionist. I mean, literally. And he's like coaxing his hand around the microphone of this, Hebrew guy interviewing him. He's like wrapping his hand. I'm serious. Watch a video. It's on YouTube. He's wrapping his hands around it like it's a fucking cock. Like he's about to just go down on it. What a snake, man. But yeah, I mean, this is absolute proof here, folks, that that's what this whole staging of the capture of bin Laden in Pakistan is about. They have systematically used this, among other reasons, like we talked about last week, multiple levels to this operation, as there are to any big operation they carry out. Well, this is going to give them a lot more clout into able to go in and kill, maim, and destroy in Pakistan and take over Pakistan and put in leadership that they want there. Period. End of story. That's why I just don't have time. I'm sorry. And probably it's going to get worse and worse out of me as the days progress and we find out more and more stuff. But I got to just be 100% honest about something. My tolerance for anybody, I don't care who they are, friends, family, strangers on the streets, I don't give a fuck. My tolerance for people, especially with evidence like what we just talked about here, what I just laid out with the Pakistani stuff and Biden and the coup d'etat and putting in the new positions of power in Pakistan, I just have no time for anybody, folks, who can still believe the government line about, oh, yeah, we killed Osama and all this and blah, 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 on the official narrative of 9/11 and the official narrative of everything else, and then want to argue with me or you because we have the facts. Got no time anymore left to deal with you. So if I'm seen as an asshole now out there, and those people that, think like that don't listen to the show anyway, so probably not. A lot of people listen to the show because they just want to hear what I'm going to say. They don't even like me or anything else. But I just, zero tolerance, man. There's too much evidence. I just can't sit idly by and keep my mouth shut anymore just because you're not informed. But yet you want to make me feel like I don't know what I'm talking about because I am informed. No time for that anymore. All of you out there shouldn't have any more time for that anymore. You're better than that. You've done your research. You know what the hell you're talking about. Don't put up with that anymore. Stand your ground. Bring facts to the table. Make sure you're well armed and well prepared and you've got your stuff down and you know what you're talking about. You can source it. Because you can get yourself in a position where when somebody's trying to deny you, man, if you've got your shit together and you've got your knowledge, man, you can fucking hammer them with facts and data and show them stuff, especially now with smartphones and tablet computers and all this stuff. I mean, there's no excuse anymore why you shouldn't be able to pull up something on Google real quick on something, no matter where you're at, to back up something that somebody's trying to deny as far as information goes when you're trying to, because, I don't understand what goes through the people's minds. Don't they know that we want them to be informed? They act like it's a challenge or something. Like it's a fucking pissing contest, let's just fucking, let's go ahead and see who's got the biggest one. Let's go ahead and just see. Oh, pull them out, boys. Who's got the biggest one? Right? No, it's not a fucking pissing contest. It's not a biggest dick contest. It's not about that. It's about you not having a clue and needing to get one real quick. That's what it's about. So check your egos and your cocks at the door and realize that it's, it's about the fact that that if you don't know the things that people like me and others are trying to say, you need to, and you need to quick, because there's no time for you to sit around and just put it off anymore. I don't care who you are or what you do or where you live or anything else. Some element of these motherfuckers' evil control system is going to touch your life in a significant way, whether it has yet or not. It will. And when it does, it should be the impetus to light a fire under your ass to want to do something. At least something other than allowing the conversation to just permanently go into the ground and not brought up again just because somebody hasn't, believes whatever comes out of their TV and that's it. But we find ourselves in those situations, where people who are just, they just brainwashed by TV. They don't research. They don't read news, don't do anything. But yet they know I got an opinion. They sure as hell do. Oh, yeah. And they sure are quick to tell you why you're wrong about your opinion because, oh, well, that's not what Sean Hannity said. My goodness. Tell me that. Neil Cavuto didn't say that. It's not what I believe. We have no time or tolerance for this shit anymore, folks. Let's see what else we got here. Did you guys hear about this? Did you guys see this shit that went down in Russia? Looks like he had another either blue beam test, space-based weapons test, probably what I'm leaning more towards. Either that or some actual real space war stuff going on. But they've come out and now said that it was some sort of Russian Soyuz rocket. But the pictures look strikingly similar to the pictures that we saw over Norway when the Norway spiral thing occurred. But I'll drop the link into the chat room there for you. It's from the Daily Mail. It was a sight that attracted the attention of space watchers all over the world, but the lights which illuminated the night sky were not the result of a UFO, but rather the Russian military. The Soyuz rocket launched to carry a military communication satellite into orbit created a spectacular light show as it passed over the Ekaterinburg, the biggest city in Russia's Ural Mountains. The eye-catching blue streaks were thought to be caused by moonlight shining through particles emitted by the rocket. Moonlight shining through particles emitted by the rocket. Now, remember those words. And if you're in the chat room listening right now, remember those words and then look down in the chat room at the pictures that I'm posting right now. And remember that statement. Here, let me put this last one in here. Now, listen to this. Listen to how they explain this. Okay? Now, this next one I'm putting in. Now, look at that. Double click that and bring that up in your browser tab real quick and take a look at that. You know what they say? You know what their explanation is for that? Apparently, due to the separation of the strap-on boosters from the frigate upper stage. Now, again, why is it that all of a sudden Russia just launches their rockets at night and everybody else around the world launches theirs during the day? That's my first question. This is shady swamp gas type stuff here, guys. I'm not going to speculate and say it was UFOs or the little green men or any shit like that. And most likely was some sort of military thing. But my goodness, we're starting to see more and more of these all over the world. If you look down at the very bottom of the first picture that I put in there, it appears to me that there's a projection beaming from the ground all the way up at the sky and projecting that image. You can see it clear as day in the first picture there, folks. I'll put it in there again. But blow this image up and look down, and there's a building on the left-hand side of the picture. And if you look really close at the picture of the building on the left-hand side of the picture, all the way down, you can see what appears to be light and beams beaming up into the sky and beaming this image into the sky. Maybe this is a Project Bluebeam, a holographic technology launch. I don't know. But there does appear to be something beaming that from the ground into the sky, doesn't there? I mean, you could see it. Well, it's very strange. I don't know if anybody else has caught that yet, but it's definitely something I could not talk about. Yeah, it's very bizarre. Very bizarre. All right, well, we're going to take a break, come back, and when we come back, we're going to get into some more news tonight. We're also going to read from William Bramley's The Gods of Eden here, and we hope you'll stay with us. This is The Global Reality. All right, back here with you on The Global Reality right here on the Global Reality Radio Network. I'm your host, Josh Reeves. Thank you for being with us here tonight for another Moonbat edition of the broadcast. We'd love to hear from you through the email, globalrealityshow@gmail.com. It's globalrealityshow@gmail.com, and that's where you can do that at. So globalrealityshow@gmail.com. I'd love to have emails from you. If you have anything you'd like me to read on the air here tonight, or have a question or anything, you can send it there. We're going to get through the rest of the news stories we have here tonight. We're also going to be reading from William Bramley, so definitely stay up late. And thanks to everybody for being here with us tonight and continuing to listen to the broadcast and make YouTube videos and spread the word and tell everybody about it. It's like I said, for the foreseeable future, certain things are kind of in the air. Situations happening with my dad, his health, and all this stuff. So, I just actually continue to support our work and support me and what I'm trying to do here. And we got to continue to fight these bastards. We can't stop, and I won't ever stop. And, this stuff just adds more fuel to my fire, That's really what it does. And if it doesn't, I think you're... it's a waste anyway, When these things directly affect you and the people you love, the people around you, that we know for a fact stems from these evil bastards in charge. It does. It does for me anyway. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. It adds more fuel to my fight. Because we have no choice. I mean, these people are going to continue to murder everybody. But it's an information battle first and foremost, because lives can be saved and lives can be lost by information. It's a fact. A lack of information, lack of knowledge, lack of knowing the real truth about things gets people into positions to where they put all of their faith and all of their trust in these pimps and minions and no good scoundrels that work on behalf of the medical industry, the pharmaceutical companies, big oil, multinational corporations, military industrial complex. They got pimps and minions all over. And doctors and hospitals and all that stuff, it's not designed to get you well. It's designed to kill you and suck your money out of the bank account and take every last dime they can get out of your insurance policy you've worked your whole life to pay off. Period, point blank, end of story. And there is no discussion. And, you know, it's the same thing happened to me with my grandmother last year, you know, and I see certain things like that. I kind of see happening now. It makes you, you know, it does at the same time sort of make you feel defenseless because, you know, you can't sit back. I just can't sit back and keep my mouth shut about shit that I see all the time that directly relates to the fact that these bastards are paid fucking executioners. These guys that administer chemotherapy and all this stuff and radiation and tell patients that that's it, that's their only chance, and anything else that's said outside of that as far as, you know, homeopathic therapy or any kind of other therapy or, you know, like the guy we had for a sponsor, Lee's Fountain of Youth, you know, who said that anything wrong with the human body ever could always be fixed by redirecting the energy flow, by applying an electrical current to it. And I have one of his devices. And, you know, I mean, how far is too far, you know? That's a real question, isn't it? You know, do I go ahead and look like a kook and go ahead and go up there with the fucking, you know, crazy plastic box with weird wires and sandpaper looking crazy shit? You know, do I do that? Do I go ahead and just look like a fucking weirdo since everybody thinks I am already anyway? And just say, fuck it, what's it hurt? And go up there and hook that shit up on my dad and see if I can, you know, do something. Is that what I do? Or don't do that? You know what I mean? That's the kind of things that you know, because the conventional wisdom would tell you that that's going to be frowned upon. You know what I mean? But, and when I had that guy as a sponsor that created that device, we never got anybody interested in it because everybody's been such conditioned by snake oil and stuff that they think anything that comes along that could be helpful is probably going to be bogus. But yet, because we've experienced that so many times, when something does come along that probably could be very beneficial to us, we just write it off as nonsense and snake oil and anything else. And I'll tell you that Lee's Fountain of Youth thing, I said this at the time when I had him as a sponsor. He's since died and his family shut down the thing. But he sent me one of those machines, man, when he was my sponsor. He charged like $1,200 for him. He sent me one totally for free. And I had my bottom bridge teeth were like loose and shaking and they were in pain. I didn't have cavities or anything. They felt like they were going to come out of my head and there was extreme pain. And I applied that thing to it. And, you know, you don't feel anything. It's just an electrical current. It works with your body's electrical current. And I'll be damned that after a couple of days, all the pain went away. And to this day, my bottom bridge teeth are solid as a rock. They don't move at all. So what was that, you know? Was that the placebo effect, you know, which is probably what the scientific community would say? I believed I wanted it to heal, so it did. Maybe so, but I'll take it. You know, what's wrong with that? If it works, right? But see, these pimps and these paid executioners that don't give people any other choices, you know, they're paid and they're designed to do that. It's not even the individuals or the individual doctors at all, but they do shoulder some of the responsibility in my mind because information is available, and these guys know full well this stuff is not fucking healthy for you. They know it is. They're not designed to. They are paid exorbitant amounts of money to do what the medical industry's intelligentsia tell them to do, and that's it. But if they had or would allow themselves to have access to other information and look at, I mean, stuff that's, I'm talking about mainstream stuff here, guys. It's admitted and has been admitted for years and years and years. It's been common knowledge. I talked about this last week. That all the big banks from Chase Manhattan and all of the Rockefeller Rothschild interests have owned and controlled the medical industry for close to 100 years. It's a fact. So by that virtue alone, should be very glaringly obvious to anyone that has half a fucking brain in their head. It's very obvious, but it's not. Because people just think that because they're the doctors or they're the police or they're the government or whoever, that they know better than those of us who really know what's going on. And people just take that, you know? They just take that and run with it. Well, they're the doctor, so I have to do what they say. No, you don't. And that mindset is what is allowing this to flourish. But if the doctors had this information of who they were really working for, and then the people had this information, understand, socialized medicine, the nationalized healthcare system, you understand what this is really about. You understand what the underlying thing of this is? Mandating by law that you have to have the healthcare. You understand what that means? That means that by law, folks, you have to be involved and give yourself over to one of the government-mandated executioners, a.k.a. the pimps and pushers of pharmaceutical drugs, doctors. You, by law, have to submit to going to one of their government-sponsored executioners now. Well, they're government-sponsored eugenicists. You understand that? So instead of opting out of the criminal medical industrial complex system that is butchering and murdering people every day for nothing more than a fucking dollar, they now passed a law in your country where you have to, by law, submit to their government torturers and executioners. If that doesn't get people hopping mad and up and out in the streets, folks, I don't know what will. Let's see what else we have here on the news agenda tonight. We got a few more news stories to get through here. Also, again, please, we do need your support right now more than ever. Donate at the website, legalradio.com. Use the chipping banner here. Use the donate button for other larger amounts if you want to help us out. Please support us right now. Terror. Yes, I think we're about to enter in. You know, they've loved launching this over the past several years, and we've had several summers of this. But I think it's time to officially declare the return of the Summer of Fear.
Suck Satan's cock.
Yes, indeed, the Summer of Fear, it seems, has returned. Oh, my goodness, everybody's shitting themselves, running all over the place. Oh, Al-Qaeda attacked my dodo shop down by my house the other night. Yeah, it was Al-Qaeda. There was some suspicious looking bear claws down there. And apparently the run around, panic, and shit yourself bug has bit Dallas, where I live. The Mockingbird DART station, the Dallas, that's Dallas Area Rapid Transit is what DART means. It's buses and light rail system. We don't have subways here, but it's our public transportation system. The Mockingbird DART station and the surrounding area, including the Angelica Theater, were evacuated Saturday. The Angelica Theater is like a art house type theater. It's pretty cool. Were evacuated Saturday after a police dog alerted authorities to a passenger on board with 2 suspicious packages. Well, what qualifies as a suspicious package these days? You know, a brown-skinned guy on a public transportation. I guess that's all it takes in Dallas. Riders traveling through downtown stations reportedly expressed alarm after a man asking them for help carrying a duffel bag in a large box. Bomb technicians with the Dallas Police Department determined that the packages were not a threat about 2 hours after the evacuation. He was actually trying to pay people to help him get packages on and off the train. The man with the packages remained with Dallas Police Department throughout the afternoon, though he was not arrested. But that didn't matter. It also says that nationwide transit systems have been on high alert because of fears of Al-Qaeda could retaliate for the death of Osama bin Laden. Here in North Texas, the NBA playoffs have had heightened security at the American Airlines Center. And by the way, I'm not a sports fan, but thank God the fucking Mavericks beat the Lakers. Fuck the Lakers. I don't even like sports, and I fucking hate the goddamn Lakers. Jack Nicholson can go fucking drive around in his electric car. It doesn't exist anymore. The FBI is also investigating suspicious letters with a Dallas postmark found at Washington, D.C. area schools. They are similar to others sent to D.C. schools this week containing a white powder. One of them referenced Al-Qaeda. Oh, my God. No. I mean, you see this? I mean, they had to, the only way, I love this, man. They had to take us back up to DEFCON 5 Bush-level terror threats to be able to justify keeping up Homeland Security and all the big money going into Homeland Security during the recession and during this, the Democrats being the current puppets in power. Unbelievable. And there was another one of these as well, I guess, in Denver. 4 people were arrested after a suspicious incident at Denver International Airport. The incident happened Saturday morning at the Southland Security checkpoint. Airport personnel noticed someone videotaping the security lines. Police then confronted the person with a camera and the 3 people in line who were being taped. 2 of those people did not have ID or boarding passes. Police arrested the man with the camera and the 3 people in line. Police say they don't know what the group was doing. They were arrested on suspicion of interfering with a transportation facility. So they were videotaping the TSA, and I guess they tried to say that was Al-Qaeda activity. Unfucking believable. And, yeah, they're already, like I said, I talked about last week how I thought that the next big op was going to have to be with transportation. I've been saying that for years. Highways, trains, something else. They've already got they want to essentially have every kind of mode of transportation that you can do be just like the airports. Freeways, highways, trains, and everybody's favorite cocksucking Zionist, Chucky Schumer, is calling for better rail security, calling for a do not ride list for Amtrak. Anyone, even a member of Al-Qaeda, could purchase a train ticket and board an Amtrak without so much as a question asked. So that's why I'm asking for the creation of an Amtrak no-ride list that would take the secure flight program and apply it to Amtrak trains. I mean, they just didn't waste any time, did they? I just don't know how this, where are all the people that were yelling and screaming about, Bush taking away rights and with the Patriot Act and all this stuff? All the pinko commies, they've all went back to sleep, I guess, now because Obama's in office. Where are all those people at? This is a continuation of Bush-era lockdown of the country, Bush-era police state garbage. It's an exact continuation of it. It's no different. The only thing that's changed is the face of the puppet that's up there. And people just, we got change you can believe in now. We got the black guy in there. Yep. It's all good. Israel to invest in $1 billion Iron Dome missile system. Let me ask you, if they're going to spend $1 billion on this, wouldn't you believe that it stands to reason that Israel's probably going to be doing something very soon, or at least the idea of Israel doing something very soon that's going to piss off a lot of people? I would say that's probably pretty imminent, wouldn't you say? Israel plans to invest $1 billion in the development and production of batteries for its Iron Dome rocket interception system, a top Israeli defense official said in an interview published on Monday. Defense Ministry Director General Major General Udi Shani told the Daily Haaretz newspaper that 5 countries have already expressed interest in the system, which was successfully deployed during a rise in rocket fire from Gaza in early April. But Shani, in his first interview since his appointment in January 2010, warned that the system's capacity must be put in perspective. We need to adjust expectations in relation to Iron Dome, he told Haaretz. We have accomplished a significant achievement in reaching operational capacity sooner than expected, but this is not a system that can ensure the interception of every rocket in every situation. We are talking about having 10 to 15 Iron Dome batteries. We will invest nearly $1 billion in this. This is the goal, in addition to the $205 million that the U.S. government has authorized. Oh, in addition to the $205 million that the U.S. government has authorized. Right. Because for some reason, every military deal or anything like that that involves weaponry, anything else, of course, in Israel, we're involved in, right? United States of America is involved. And why is that? So obviously, yeah, they feel the need that something's going to be happening very soon where they need this missile system in Israel. So, stay tuned for that. We've talked about here many times the idea of the elite creating, starships and all this stuff and jumping off this rock and going to other places and leaving leaving us all down here in squalor. But you know what? Go ahead. Fuck them. We'll repair this planet and use it just fine without you. You elite fuckers want to go somewhere else, get on a starship, go buy. I'll fucking buy the first ticket. I'll pack your bags for you, bitch. Please. Fine. Go ahead. Bug out. Go somewhere else. We'll survive. DARPA and NASA look to spawn Starship Enterprise. Self-building interstellar shipbuilder saw it. For more details have emerged on the U.S. government's plan to build a spacecraft capable of a journey between the stars. Astoundingly, it is expected that this can be achieved with no more than several $100,000 of government funding. This is because the idea is that the Starship will not in fact be built or be funded by the U.S. government nor any other. Even the mighty USA, goes the reasoning, could never muster the necessary levels of investment and focus over many decades, which would be required by such a project. Rather, the idea is to set up some new kind of organization, potentially far wealthier, more powerful, and more focused on the goal of interstellar flight than any national government could possibly be. The envisioned sub $1 million from the U.S. Treasury would be no more than seed money for this mighty organization, whose structure and methods remain unknown as yet. As we've noted on these pages before, it seems plain that someone has been reading Robert Heinlein's classic science fiction novel, Time for the Stars. In the tale, there is a miracle nonprofit outfit in the future known as the Long Range Foundation, which becomes colossally rich by investing in long-term but high payoff projects such as weather control. Well, conveniently enough, weather control. And then it plows its vast revenues into building relativistic torch ships able to travel to nearby stars at close to the speed of light. The journeys thus take decades from the point of view of people remaining on Earth, but time is compressed aboard the ships and the crews age by only a few years. The ships not only carry the first human explorers to other suns, but accidentally discover new physics permitting the development of proper faster-than-light starships. The nascent U.S. government-spawned Long Range Foundation, a project that has been dubbed the 100-year Starship, referring to the notional time it might take to get to the first interstellar mission underway. The organization is expected to swiftly become wholly devoid of government subsidy or control, but until that happens, it is being run by, of course, Pentagon crazy tech agency DARPA and NASA's famous Ames campus in Silicon Valley. So they are building these things for whatever purposes, and they're not going to let us go out there. No, they want to, like the Anunnaki, like the custodians, wanted them to do, go out and, as they did, spread their power, like Hitler was wanting to do, to other places, other universes. That's what these guys want to do ultimately, man. Just being in control down here is not enough for them. They want to take their fucking blood sacrifice and murder everywhere. Well, that's kind of what was what I thought was kind of the theme of Avatar. Some weird technology news here for you. This has got to be the strangest of the strange. And, of course, this is coming out of Japan, no less. Electronics firm Neuroware has created a set of ears that apparently respond to the wearer's emotions via a sensor on their forehead. So it has a neural net fucking thing that has cat ears, and you can control the movements of these cat ears using only your mind. I shit you not. You can't make this shit up. When the user is sad, the ears flop down. If they are concentrating, they stand up, wiggle around if the wearer is amused, and go flat if they are tired. NeuroWare claims that there is a direct link between what the person is thinking and what the Neo-Kamimi ears do. So I kid you not, brain-controlled fucking cat ears. Brain-controlled cat ears. That's going to be the new hot toy in what's left of the now FUBAR Japan. It's just unbelievable. And speaking of more useless technology, listen to this. This is going to be wonderful. If you already were annoyed, I don't own one, and I'm annoyed as piss at these things anyway, but I understand they're a necessary evil for a lot of people, just not for me. But if you weren't already annoyed by, can you hear me now? 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 Am I getting a signal? Am I getting a signal? Am I getting, I'm getting a text. Me. It could go down as one of the most irritating inventions in history. Scientists have devised a technology, a gadget that will allow mobile phones to be recharged simply by talking into them. The technology turns sound into electricity, allowing a mobile to be powered up while a conversation is in progress, and the greater the volume, the greater the charge. There are fears it will simply be an excuse for inconsiderate phone users to make even more annoyingly noisy calls in public places. Oh, you think? Hold on, let me charge my phone. Asshole! Asshole! Shit, cunt, pussy, motherfucker, shit, cunt, pussy, motherfucker. Oh, man, you got bout with Tourette's or something there? Oh, no, I'm just charging my phone. Cock, Satan, puss, kid, shit, kiss, motherfucker, cock, suck. That's just what we need. Guys going around, people going around and yelling at their phones to charge them. Oh, this is just going to be wonderful. This is just going to be super duper duper. Yell at it. It'll charge it up. Oh, let me yell on my phone real quick. Hey, cocksucker, charge. There we go. We're good now. Hey, honey, I'm going to get a tire. Come over here and yell cocksucker at my phone for me so it'll charge up. Thank you. Microchip maker Intel has claimed a breakthrough in computer processor technology after revealing a revolutionary new three-dimensional transistor design. Oh, my goodness. Analysts have described the breakthrough as one of the most significant developments in silicon transistor design since the integrated circuit was invented in the 1950s. I guess the fruits of us shooting down all those fucking UFOs lately have been, they've been getting some good stuff out of them, I guess. Alien technology has progressed, so ours is progressing more now, too, I guess, since we've shot more down, right? It opens the way for faster smartphones, lighter laptops, and a new generation of supercomputers, and possibly for powerful new products engineers have yet to dream up. Intel's breakthrough involves minuscule fins jutting from the surface of a typically flat transistor to improve performance without adding size, just as skyscrapers make the most of a small square of land. When I looked at it, I did a big wow, said analyst Dan Hutchison. What we've seen for decades have now been revolutionary changes to the technology. This is definitely a revolutionary change, and so it's getting smaller and smaller, more and faster, more efficient. I mean, it's we are reaching Skynet level technology, ladies and gentlemen, more and more and more, even with what they're admitting to, not even the stuff that they're not admitting to. So insane stuff. Well, we're going to take a break, come back. We're going to continue reading from The Gods of Eden with William Bramley here tonight. And we kind of, like I said, we started bit off more than we could chew last time, and we had to stop in the middle of the chapter. So we'll pick up there tonight and continue on for you here on the show. This is the Global Reality right here on the Global. All right, back here with you on the Global Reality right here on the Global Reality Radio Network. I'm your host, Josh Reeves. Thank you for being with us. And we're going to be getting into William Ramsey God's Eden in this section of the broadcast tonight. So thank you so much to everybody for being with us here for the broadcast. And so we're going to continue reading as well here for you tonight. A couple of things in the chat room. Somebody's asking about David Icke and Russell Pine. I mean, Jordanus Maximus. I mean, Jordan Maxwell. Jordan Maxwell, number one. Man, I mean, that guy's just, I don't know, man. He's well, you know, his stuff was largely what the Zeitgeist guys were basing all their stuff on. And, you know, he's the guy that's pushed all the, you know, oh, it's just sun worship and that's it. And don't go any farther. He's always seemed like a gatekeeper to me. He contacted me one time and just out of the blue said, you know, tell me about yourself and about your show. Russell Pine did, a.k.a. Jordanus Maximus. And I told him about the show, and he never contacted me back. And I've tried getting him on and stuff in the past. But, you know, I mean, I found all of those guys from the old guard are all suspicious in some way or the other. Icke, I interviewed Icke. I felt like I had been psychically vampirized. The entire time I had David Icke on. Then I went and saw him out in New Mexico in 2009. 10 minutes into it, psychic vampirism all over again. He canceled the meet and greet once he found out I was there. Those kind of things, you know, I can only base sometimes a lot of stuff on what I experience. And, you know, I tell you, it's pretty apparent what a lot of these guys are. And yeah, David Icke did say that when I was there at the thing. He said that the Rothschilds are they're the tip top of the pyramid and that's it, and don't look any farther. And I felt insulted by that, you know, and felt that anybody else in that room should have been insulted by that had they done their own research. Because I knew absolutely that was not the case, and absolutely there were levels of control above the Rothschilds. The Rothschilds are upper management at best. And I just, you know, I felt really insulted by that on top of everything else. And David Icke was somebody I'd given the benefit of the doubt to quite a bit through the years. But the things I experienced both interviewing him and seeing him in live, I have to tell you, there's something about that guy. He's an energy vampire. I mean, my God, I had Anthony J. Hilder on my show back in 2008, 2009, something like that. And he was using, it was 2008 was when I had him on. Yeah, 2008. And Anthony J. Hilder was using neuro-linguistic programming all over the place. I mean, that show's out there on archives. You can find it. But listen to that show. My God. I mean, so, you know, I've interviewed just about everybody I ever wanted to interview, and you know, it's just a night and day difference between somebody like Michael Tessarian and David Icke. It's a night and day difference. I mean, just in their energy and their vibe and everything else. Michael Tessarian, I've interviewed him like 5 times. I hope to get him on again sometime. And it's just always the best shows ever when Michael comes on. It's really great, but totally different vibe from him than some of these other guys. That's the whole thing is that, you know, I've always given a lot of people the benefit of the doubt. There's been a lot of people out there I've given the benefit of the doubt to a lot through the years. And turns out everybody I've ever given the benefit of the doubt to, as far as, you know, whether or not they're connected to some of this stuff or not, has subsequently been smashed because more and more stuff ends up coming and making itself apparent later. And that's the stuff. That's the thing is, the longer that you pay attention to this stuff, the longer you have been paying attention to stuff, the more stuff you're going to see. But there's just no doubt now that the whole truth movement as it stands, patriot movement as it stands, the infrastructure of this was set up many years ago out of the John Birch Society. I mean, don't forget that, Tim LaHaye, who we talked about earlier, who started the Council for National Policy with seed money that he'd gotten from the Hunt oil family here in Dallas, started his career right outside San Diego, subsequently the same place where the Reagan campaign would later spawn out of. And Tim LaHaye starts out with the John Birch Society talking about the Illuminati, talking about the UN takeover, talking about, we're talking about like 1958 here. And, there was largely nobody in the world really talking about conspiracy, what you would consider conspiracy type of talk that far back. So you can see a direct connection from how that spawned out of the John Birch Society and morphed into what we know now. So there's no doubt that there's been a very long-running systematic plan to keep the perimeters of what truth-seeking and seeking enlightenment and the real truth about the things going on in the world has been. And they attempted to do it, and a lot of us bought into it. Some of us didn't, but the biggest op, especially in where I live here in the United States of America, we have listeners all over the world, but I'll tell you what, guys, here in the United States of America, they hijacked the seeking of knowledge and the seeking of truth into this new half-ass neo, American Revolution bullshit that a lot of us never wanted to have anything to do with. But they turned that into, well, then you got to be a part of the club. You have to think like this, and you have to want a revolution. You have to, again, that right there tells you that there are forces that are controlling this that are not, don't have the best interests of all of us at hand. But there you go. I hope that helps from addressing some stuff there from the chat room. Again, my website is www.theglobalreality.com. It's www.theglobalreality.com. The chip and banner is there for the month for the bills and whatnot. The donate button is there. If you want to, you can put in any amount you want there, from a few dollars to a few $100s to a few $1,000, whatever you want to do, whatever you can put up. We need your support right now. I'm asking for your support right now. Just trying times and whatnot and everything. And like I said, I'm gonna wait and see how everything's at Pam. My dad's just I haven't talked about it a whole lot, but my dad's not doing too good, y'all. It's not gonna be, I don't know. I have feelings for you. It's not gonna be too long. So, and when we're not on the air and stuff, it affects my life and everything else because, we're not on the air and we don't have money coming in. So, I'm just going to ask you guys just to support me through this because, it's going to be tough and I'm going to have to deal with this. And, it's one of those things. All right, let's continue reading here tonight. We were talking about the history of the Mormon Church. Good stuff. Where we left off last time out of William Graham's The Gods of Eden. I'd like to continue there now for you tonight. Some Mormons stress that the spiritual teachings found in Mormon texts are more important than the historical information. Mormon spiritual beliefs are indeed significant because they are quite forthright about custodial intentions. Yeah, I come right out and say it. The basic spiritual beliefs of the Mormon Church can be summarized as follows. Humans are immortal spiritual beings occupying human bodies. The spirit is the true source of intelligence and personality, not the body. As spiritual beings, we existed before birth and will continue to exist after death. The true goal of life is to improve spirituality, and everyone can eventually achieve a rehabilitated spiritual state that mirrors the state of a supreme being. Sounds oddly close to Scientology, doesn't it? And we've seen Scientology connections in the Council for National Policy with Beverly LaHaye, Tim LaHaye's wife, Phyllis Schlafly. They stirred up a bunch of stuff in California several years ago. It's been more than several years ago now. It's been over a decade, I guess, when this happened. It's been a while. I don't exactly know what year Frater H. L. Ron Hubbard died, but it was somewhere in the time, I think, when he was still, I don't know, he was still alive, or anyway, the internet was around whenever this happened. I know that for a fact. So I don't know exactly how long ago this was. But there was a campaign to get by Phyllis Schlafly and Beverly LaHaye and a bunch of these CMP types to get the pro-evolution teachings taken out of the public schools. And when they took out the pro-evolution teachings in these California schools, they replaced it with Scientology teachings from L. Ron Hubbard. So all these custodial religions, all these religions, they're all interconnected. Back to the mystery religions that spawned the priest class. These beliefs sound like the teachings of a maverick religion. We can at once understand why so many people are drawn to Mormonism and remain devoted adherents. Members are told important truths. When we read further into Mormon works, however, we find that the above truths are given many fatal twists which actually prevent people from ever attaining their spiritual salvation. Mormon texts state that people are actually immortal spirit bodies, which inhabit human bodies. Spirit bodies are made of matter and look just like human bodies. Joseph Smith said that spirit is a substance, that it is material, but that it is more pure, elastic, and refined matter than the body. A supreme being, or God, is said to be a similar material being who inhabits a perfect and immortal flesh and bones body. The ultimate goal of Mormonism is to achieve the same state of God and dwell in a perfect immortal human body for the rest of eternity. Mormon teachings, which are alleged to have come from ancient plates and custodial angels, therefore encourage humans to welcome the grim fate of endless entrapment in human bodies. The Book of Mormon expresses that objective this way. The spirit and the body shall be reunited again in its perfect form, their spirits united with their bodies, never to be divided. That's soul entrapment, soul enslavement right there, folks. Ancient Mesopotamian texts told us that mankind's custodial gods wanted to permanently join spiritual beings to human bodies so that the custodians would have a slave race. Maverick religions have argued that a spirit's enmeshment in a human body is the primary cause of suffering. To counteract this maverick teaching and to promote custodial aims, Mormonism falsely declares that a spiritual being can only achieve ultimate happiness and godliness when it has been permanently joined to matter. Again, false teaching. Only where true spiritual understanding has been lost can such a teaching take hold, as it has on a widespread scale on earth. Mormonism teaches that everyone lived with the Heavenly Father, God, before coming to earth as a part of God's grand plan. People are sent to earth in order to learn right from wrong and to demonstrate to God that they prefer doing good over evil. However, something is done to all spiritual beings who are sent to earth. They are induced with amnesia about their pre-birth existences, according to a pamphlet published by the Mormon Church. Though we might sometimes sense imitations of our premortal existence, as through a glass darkly, it would be effectively blocked from our memory. That is a remarkable claim, for it suggests that the memory of pure spiritual existence is in some way deliberately blocked from human memories by the custodial society as a part of its effort to weld spiritual beings to human bodies. The custodial society does seem to have effective methods for occluding memory, as demonstrated in modern UFO abduction cases where human victims are apparently caused to suffer almost complete amnesia regarding their abduction experiences. The forced amnesia described in Mormon, the Book of Mormon, had several purported purposes, one of which was, quote, to ensure that our choice of good or evil would reflect our earthly desires and will rather than the remembered influence of our all-good Heavenly Father, meaning they want to block out any positive influence. This is also an astonishing admission. Excuse me. This is also an astonishing admission. It alleges that spiritual memory is dimmed so that people will base their actions on their concerns as material beings rather than upon their knowledge and remembrance of spiritual existence. This can only hamper the ability of individuals to attain a high level of ethics, because true ethics must ultimately take into account a person's spiritual nature when confronted with an ethical dilemma. By reducing all questions of ethics to strictly earthly concerns, people are prevented from fully resolving those ethical questions that will start them on the road to full spiritual recovery. This restriction is precisely what the custodians wanted as revealed in the Old Testament. God did not want Adam and Eve to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil because it would lead to knowledge of how to regain spiritual immortality. The above passage further suggests that there exists a custodial intention to block human remembrance of a supreme being. The implication is that people not only have buried memories of prior spiritual existence, but they also hold hidden recollections of contact with a supreme being. If such memory exists, we can at once understand why the custodians would try to veil it. By blocking such memory, the custodial society further deepens spiritual ignorance and is better able to promote its religious pretenses and fictions. This is not to say that the custodial society would alone be guilty of causing spiritual deterioration and amnesia. Such deterioration would have probably begun long before the formation of the custodial civilization. Mormon writings would only suggest that custodians took advantage of such deterioration and hastened it to suit their own ends. We have noted the use of breeding war as a custodial tool for maintaining control over the human population. According to the Book of Mormon, this tool was used in the ancient American civilizations where God was held responsible for the outbreak of many wars. The Book of Mormon states that wars would continue to be bred over the generations as God's tool for maintaining control. In light of this, it is not surprising to discover that Mormonism is another branch of the Brotherhood Network, even though the Mormon Church was traditionally and has traditionally been opposed to other secret societies such as Freemasonry. Yeah, even though it was started as a front to practice Freemasonry, that's the bullshit of it. Mormon opposition to Freemasonry is based upon passages in the Book of Mormon which seem to suggest that God opposes secret societies. For example, we read in 2 Nephi 26, 22, 23, and there are also secret combinations, even as in times of old, according to the combinations of the devil, for he is the foundation of all these things. Well, don't forget that what they called Ea, or Enki, when he set up the first secret society, the Brotherhood of the Snake, the Brotherhood of the Serpent, after they banished him to reincarnate in fragile human bodies all over again, and then that's what we know as messianic figures like Jesus and Quetzalcoatl and Buddha and all this stuff. One of the things that they did was they because he had set up the original secret society to teach mankind in secret who we are, what we are, where we came from, what our destiny is, what our true possibilities are, what we can really do. The secrets of things that the custodians have kept from us, he wanted to teach us in secret. So what they did was they put out this thing to the public that secret societies and things done in secret are bad, so that would become the widely held belief and the widely held moralistic attitude. And then called Ea, who was trying to set mankind free, they called him the devil and the prince of darkness. That's where the term the prince of darkness comes from. And they created this ingrained belief in people that anything that presented itself as Ea was the devil. That's how they did it. So they could keep the secret societies to themselves. You see where I'm going with this? They wanted the opinions of the secret societies to be. That's why they do all this stuff now. That's why you see these priest class bozos like, Schnoblin and Monteith and the rest of these guys, who get up there and tell you Freemasonry is satanic devil worship. They worship the devil, and they drink blood, and you just don't find any evidence of that. But that's why they do it. Because they want the widely held belief that these secret societies are evil and this stuff, and they don't want average everyday people seeking this information out. So they said Ea is the devil and he's the prince of darkness, and anything associated with him is the devil's work. So that they could have their own secret societies and do things in secret, and meanwhile hijack the knowledge that was supposed to be used for the betterment of mankind and the unenslavement of mankind, And then they turned that around and said secret societies are evil. And then they took all the knowledge and started their own secret societies, and then, still told everybody they were bad and put out this lie about it. And it's maintains pretty much to the modern day, folks. They still do that. They want us to believe that all the secret societies and the secret information is all evil devil worship stuff, so that we don't look into it for ourselves and find out what it is once for ourselves. We just believe them, right? We just take their word for it. Since when have you has taking their word on anything been the wise move? Many people object to interpreting the above passages being directed against societies like Freemasonry. After all, did not Joseph Smith himself create a multi-leveled priesthood pattern after Freemasonry, complete with secret ceremonies and a ceremonial apron? The Mormon priesthood is divided into two sections. The priesthood of Aaron, named after Moses' brother, and the high priesthood, better known as the priesthood of Melchizedek, named after the biblical king Melchizedek. According to Alma 13:1-14, the Mormon high priesthood is precisely the same one over which the Melchizedek had reigned many centuries earlier. The Mormon priesthood today continues to follow the step-by-step initiation process of other brotherhood organizations. Its highest ceremonies are performed in secret, and initiates are required to take vows of silence. During such ceremonies, initiates often wear ceremonial aprons as various mysteries are revealed to them through the use of symbols and allegory. Joseph Smith claimed that he patterned the Mormon priesthood according to the dictates of an angel. He did not rely entirely on his extraterrestrial friend, however. Smith also became a Freemason for a short period of time in order to borrow from the craft, according to Thomas F. O'Day, writing in his book, The Mormons. Joseph went to Masonry to borrow many elements of ceremony. These he reformed, explaining to his followers that the Masonic ritual was a corrupted form of an ancient priesthood ceremonial that was now being restored. Yeah, it was actually the other way around. It wasn't a corruption of an ancient priesthood ceremony that was being restored. It was an ancient priesthood ceremony. It was just incorporating into something else, but to still have the same effect. To lie to people about spiritual knowledge and give them corrupted information on true spiritual knowledge so that they don't understand what we are, that we are actually spirits in the material world trapped in these 5-sense, 3-dimensional bodies. Joseph Smith was made a Master Mason on March 16, 1842, at a lodge in Illinois. That same lodge was joined by other top Mormons. Perhaps the most famous Mormon Freemason was Brigham Young, the man who led the Mormon exodus across America to Utah and established the headquarters of the church in that state, where it remains today. The above facts do not mean that Mormonism was a branch of Freemasonry. Well, it certainly was. It was an extension of it. It was a way to do it in secret. It was set up by the same people. Come on. Organizational ties between the Mormon Church and Freemasonry were severed quite early on. Smith and the early Mormons went to Freemasonry to borrow, not to truly join. The Mormon Church was but another faction at war with older brotherhood factions. Mormons were told that their religion was the only true and living church upon the face of the whole earth, with which I, the Lord, am well pleased. This proclamation naturally conflicts with every other custodial religion which declares the same thing, thereby setting in motion more senseless religions and more senseless religious disputes to keep people fighting and disunited. Some people are still fighting the Mormons now. Joseph Smith suffered for it when he was murdered by an angry mob in 1844. Throughout the church's embattled history, Mormons have found solace in the future judgment day promised by Smith's angel. Smith's writings clearly indicated that the judgment day was to arrive during his own generation. Perhaps the predicted Great Conflagration did arrive. The American Civil War broke out in 1861, and many of Smith's personal followers were still alive to witness that brutal conflict, which must have seemed like an Armageddon to many Americans. As always, the promised millennium of peace and spiritual salvation did not follow that Armageddon, so Mormons did what so many other apocalyptic religions have done. They reinterpreted their Judgment Day prophecy to keep it alive, even though it had clearly failed. One great project of the Mormon Church today is the maintenance of a vast genealogical record library, the world's largest. Genealogy is the study of a family lineage and ancestry. It tells who gave birth to whom, as well as the racial and social characteristics of a person's family tree. The Mormon genealogical vaults are housed in a mountain in the Rocky Mountains about 20 miles south of Salt Lake City. The vaults are protected by a 700-foot thick mountain granite and a 14-ton steel door. The library is clearly meant to survive almost anything. According to a Mormon pamphlet, ongoing record collection produces more than 60,000 rolls of microfilm each year containing data from deeds, marriage license, family Bibles, registers, cemetery lists, and other sources. This remarkable activity began during the first half of the 20th century. It is ostensibly carried out because Mormons believe that families go on forever. Mormons are taught that they need to trace family lines so that all those who lived and died in the past can be blessed in ceremonies performed in the present by modern Mormons. Yeah, baptisms of the dead. The Mormons, however, do not limit their genealogical research to just Mormon families. Their goal is to perform the necessary genealogical research so that all those who now or ever in the spirit world can be vicariously baptized. See, I have a big problem with that. Doing these baptism of the dead and baptizing you into Mormonism after you're dead, I have a problem with that. Since every human being who has ever lived fits the above category, we must conclude that the Mormon objective is a complete genealogical record of the entire human race. According to the Mormon Church, that is precisely the goal of the project to the degree that it can be accomplished. The activity understandably concerns many people. Many individuals living today witness the racial madness of the German Nazis and might shudder at the devastating impact that the Mormon genealogical collection could have in the hands of racists. This unease is increased by early Mormon doctrines which had placed dark-skinned people in a greatly inferior position to whites. Arianism was an important element of early Mormon philosophy. That's why you see all these, white supremacist guys running around that are Mormons in the Patriot Movement, the Truth Movement now. My goodness, Joel Skousen and all those clowns. Bo Grites, and it's just they're everywhere. In 2 Nephi 5:21-24, we read that the dark skin was created by God as a punishment for sin. Much to their credit, Mormons have recently dropped these racist beliefs and now admit black people to the priesthood. Mormons must nevertheless be alert to ensuring that their genealogical records are never permitted to fall into the hands of those who might desire them for racial purification purposes. Modern Mormon activities do not exhibit many humanitarian leanings. The church, they got big pentagrams on the doors of that fucking church up there. Literally, there's big pentagrams on the front door. How do you explain that? The church, for example, encourages strong family units. In 1982, I was gratified to see a television advertisement produced by the Mormon Church that expresses the importance of not ignoring a child's accomplishments. This brings up a very important point. No individual or organization is purely good or purely bad. In our crazy universe, absolute good and absolute evil just do not appear to exist. In the worst of people, one will always find a tiny ember of good. E.g., the psychopathic Adolf Hitler was always kind to children. And in the best of individuals, there was always at least one thing that should change. The majority of people who join a group or follow a leader do so for the right reasons. They have heard an element of truth, or they seek the solution to a genuine problem. The real trick in judging a person or group is to determine whether more good is being done than bad, and how the bad may be corrected without destroying whatever good there might be. The task is not usually an easy one. Mormon writings declare that God, i.e., Earth's custodial management, intends to eventually eliminate the spirit world entirely as a part of God's great utopian plan for mankind. In other words, nothing but the material universe is to ever exist as far as the people of Earth are ever concerned. This can be translated to mean total spiritual entrapment in physical matter. Amen. That's exactly what it's saying. Now, all my research for years is, we've been talking about this for years on the show. Such intentions would require that philosophies of strict materialism be created and imposed upon the human race so that humans do not look beyond the material universe. Such philosophies would teach that there is no spiritual reality and that all life, thought, and creation arise solely out of physical processes. Such ideas have become very fashionable, and they are sadly helping to push the human race into an ever-deepening spiritual sleep. Leading this trend for many years was a political philosophy which had gained its initial momentum in 19th century Germany. I am speaking, of course, of communism, that ever so curious mix of apocalypticism, materialism, and Protestant work ethic, which was such a significant force in the 20th century. So that's the end of chapter 30 there, and William Brown was the Gods of Eden. The next chapter is chapter 31, the Apocalypse of Marx, as in Karl Marx. I like that segue there of segueing into the idea of, well, I'm sure we'll talk about it when we get in the next chapter, but, shutting people off to spiritual reality. I mean, it's a big part of, that's been a big part of their master plan. That's what the creation of the priest class and the whole structure's been about since day one. So very, very good stuff there. We'll pick up there next time on the show. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and being with us. We do need your support right now more than ever. It keeps us commercial free. It keeps us going and everything. So donate to the website, theglobalreality.com if you can, folks. And we're going to continue to soldier on here and push on into the future with this stuff, no matter what tries to get in our way. My name is Josh Reeves. I love each and every one of you. We'll see you next time, guys. Take care.